I remember the day it all began to unfold. Jumoke wasn't my closest friend, but in our small town, everyone's business was everyone's business, and Jumoke had been a familiar face since secondary school. She was steady with Deji, her boyfriend of 2 years, and everyone thought they were perfect together. Deji was head over heels for her, the kind of love you could see in his eyes whenever he looked at her. But sometimes there was something off about Jumoke, like a heaviness around her that didn't fit the happy image people had of her relationship with Deji. One evening, I was buying vegetables at the market when I overheard two women talking quietly nearby. At first, I wasn't paying attention, but then I heard Jumoke's name and my ears perked up. "How can she be pregnant for her own father?" one of the women whispered, her voice laced with shock. I almost dropped my basket. Was it the same Jumoke I knew? I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was some nasty rumor, but it was like a splinter I couldn't ignore. Later that day, I ran into BC, a friend who always seemed to know what was going on. She pulled me aside, and without even asking, she started telling me about Jumoke. She said Jumoke's father has been abusing her for years, since she was a teenager, maybe even younger. It was something Jumoke had never been able to talk about, something she buried deep inside. Even after she got together with Deji, and now it has gone from a hidden nightmare to an impossible reality. Jumoke was pregnant, and the child was her father's. BC's voice was filled with pity, but her face had a hard look to it, like she didn't know whether to feel sorry for Jumoke or disgusted by the situation. She explained how Jumoke was living with this heavy, horrible secret, trapped in her father's control. She had been carrying it for a long time, and she couldn't imagine how to escape, and she certainly couldn't bring herself to tell Deji. How could she look him in the eyes and explain that the man who should have been protecting her had instead been destroying her? It was a weight that no one should bear alone. Word got out, and soon enough, Deji heard whispers of Jumoke's pregnancy. At first, he was excited. He thought he was going to be a father. He went to see her, wanting to celebrate, but Jumoke couldn't hide the truth anymore. She told him everything, and his reaction was like watching a man crumble from inside out. He looked at her in horror, unable to process what he has been hearing. He couldn't believe that the girl he loved had been living with such a dark secret. And even worse, that she was carrying her own father's child. Deji left her that day. He didn't say much, just that he needed time and space. A few weeks later, I heard he packed up and left town. He couldn't handle the weight of it all. He couldn't look at Jumoke without seeing the betrayal, the twisted reality that had shattered everything they had. As for Jumoke, no one saw her much after that. Some people said she left to start a new life far from here, where no one knew her story. Others said she stayed, but lived like a shadow, drifting through the days without really being there. All I know is that the memory of her still haunts me. The pain she must have carried, the fear, the shame. It was something no one should ever live with. And yet she did, for as long as she could.